before me, a grid of indistinct blue chairbacks and lolling heads. This was why I had never traveled alone before, lost already on the plane. Breathing into my ribs to ease the stab of panic, I wandered the plane for at least 10 minutes, peering into each row for my new yellow headphones before I spotted them in the middle of a chair, my white notebook tucked into the mesh pocket with the magazines and puke bag. My rowmates jostled to let me back in, and I sat for several minutes with the notebook gripped in both fists before opening it again. I felt like I had when I was 12, when I'd kept my navy blue diary tucked between my mattress and the wall, tucked it into my school bag every morning, checked for it throughout the day, reaching in to feel the comforting cloth cover against my palm. Inside the white notebook, I'd tucked my retyped and printed out pages of my grandfather's 73-year-old journal. In the year of our Lord, 1942, when brute, barbaric violence and injustice reigned over the greater part of Europe, I was one of the hundreds, if not thousands, who, by secret escape, fled the violence and injustice which directly threatened their lives. What follows here is a short chronicle of that pilgrimage to safer places. Jos van Emden had written these words long before he became a husband or a father or my opa. In July 1942, now exactly 73 years ago, he was 33 years old. A young man, tall and blue-eyed, his blonde curls styled into a meticulous side-parted pompadour. It is merely a matter-of-fact travelogue from which few, if any, extraordinary or shocking facts will be omitted. Let it be noted by way of an excuse that it is not my intention to compose something meant for publication. But now that I am here in the unoccupied part of France and have found, at least for now, a somewhat safe anchorage, I want to write these facts down for myself and possibly also for relatives and friends in this moment when all the peculiarities are still clear in my mind, so that later on, when we live again under happier and more humane circumstances, the memories of all of this will not have faded completely. Jos's account covered 2 weeks, during which he escaped from German-occupied Europe. He'd been fired from his job at Royal Dutch Shell with the heartfelt regret of his employers. The new German government had passed laws barring him from working, from visiting movie theaters, from riding a bicycle or riding in a car, or riding a tram unless on the front platform. He was forbidden from leaning out of windows or using balconies that faced the street or wearing clothing that had not been embossed with a yellow star reading Jout, Jew in Dutch. On July 15th, exactly 73 years before I sat in that plane, all Amsterdam telephone subscribers were required to declare their race, and anyone who admitted to being Jewish had their service cut off. Worse things were coming, there was no doubt. Opa's brother was going into hiding. His mother, already elderly, was sure no one could be bothered to track her down. A child wailed somewhere behind me, and I remembered, or thought I remembered, the agony of flying before I'd known how to yawn, the pain that built up inside my ears. I had flown across the Atlantic the other way when I was a toddler, not yet 3. My parents' families, though they'd started out in England too, had already arrived in the US and Canada, and we were going too. Once all on the same continent, my parents and my sister and I visited Oma and Opa every summer and every winter. Dad's family didn't celebrate Christmas, so Oma and Opa got us then, by default. We made our annual sojourn in the car. First 12 hours from a DC suburb, and then just 5 hours once we moved again to Ottawa. Oma and Opa lived just past Toronto in the then small town of Barrie, and they'd stand by the window waiting to see us driving up, then run outside to catch us in their cashmere-clad arms. "Darling," said Opa, deep-voiced, hugging bodily, knees sharp angles through his corduroy trousers. He wasn't naturally inclined to cuddling, but let Chloe and me maul him, smiling, saying, "Oh, hello, hello, yes, yes."